did a good job offensively. We surprised them with some things a year ago, and we knew they would not be surprised this year. So they had a good plan right from the get-go, how they wanted to attack us, showed on the first drive. Obviously, Sterling makes a huge play, knocks the ball out. Me and Big talk every week, big play and turnovers, and again, it decides the outcomes of football games. And that play is as big a play in the first 3 minutes of the game. There's a play made that's probably as big a play as any play in the game when you look back. They were stingy on defense in the first half. Lonnie and Ivan do a great job on a third down play, and Ivan beats their back and gets a quarterback off his spot, and then Lonnie strips it, and then obviously Doug gets on it, and then we crease him, and Bester makes a great, their safety's a great player, but Bester made a miss. Bester's a great player, and we creased him right after and get a one-play 45-yard drive and get a lead. Obviously, every game you'd rather play from ahead. We never trailed in the game. They moved the ball and scored. You're 7-7 at half, kind of what you expect, maybe a little lower scoring than you expect, but I felt like if both teams played well, it'd be close. We probably were fortunate in the first half to be 7-all just from we got the two turnovers. If we don't get the first one, they're probably scoring on that drive. Then third quarter offense, again, seems like it's kind of when we need something, they give it to us. They're timely. We talked about it before, like how timely our offense is of putting drives together when you really need them. Sometimes we don't get the most yardage, obviously, or we're the most prolific at times, but it seems so. Second half, again, just like a week ago against Kent, just like 2 weeks ago against Northern, we put together our best drive of the day, and we march down. Obviously, Jack makes a great play in the corner of the end zone and get a lead. They score. Our offense, again, answers the bell again, gets us the lead again. We hit James May, who, again, not as James May's kind of tip-fires offense, not a ton of stuff out of James May, but really timely and really, really necessary. For the amount of catches he has this year, the amount of usage we've got out of his catches have been game-changing plays, and obviously that's a huge game-changing plays, and we punch it in. They come back and score again, and it was kind of like, okay, they score with 8:59. They're at home. They got the momentum. Kind of everything's on the line right now, guys. You got outplaying for 8 minutes and 59 seconds. And, huge drive. It wasn't nothing spectacular, but we kind of grinded out on the ground and went on a 10-play, 40-yard drive, which a 10-play, 40-yard drive isn't, but huge 3rd and 6 where Tyree, we get him on a little outside run play, and Tyree gets some good block and cuts it up, gets a huge first down. And again, we got it just about as far, we got it to the 35. You'd like to drive down and score, but it's the nature of this team. Like, everybody just does enough. Sometimes we don't do too much. You like to have more breathing room, and but you're playing on the road against a team that's a 7.5-point favorite and predicted to win the league, and they got the senior quarterback, and they got a huge home crowd behind them, and you get it. Then Sloman does what Sloman does and makes a huge kick, and like James May's catches, Sloman's kicks all seem to matter. Just kind of everything we do counts because there's not a lot of margin for error. And then obviously defense is out there, and they've scored a couple possessions. Well, they had scored on 2 of the last 3 possessions. We had a stop in between the touchdowns. So you got, and then we kick it out of bounds. It was kind of funny. Like I said on the headset, I'm like, yeah, that's perfect. Like, I literally said that to D. I said, well, of course Sloman kicks it out of bounds now. Might as well give him a shot. Field goal ties it, touchdown, we lose. Give the ball in the 35 to an offense that's scored 2 touchdowns the last 3 times. I'm like, perfect. Let's give him some field position, make this as challenging as possible. And then obviously, huge play on second down. You got to pressure. McWood gets home. We got Cam kind of finishes it off, but McWood gets home. We finally get him on the ground, which we had got home a number of times during the day and couldn't get him on the ground. So it was nice. Like, just when I saw us pouring in there, I didn't think much. I'm like, okay, we'll see what happens now. And then I actually saw him falling to the ground. I'm like, wow, you can't tackle this guy. So obviously that's a huge play and puts him way behind the chains. And then, you get a huge stop. So pretty incredible win on the road. Pretty incredible, like we said, what these kids have accomplished, they've earned. They haven't backed in anything. They haven't lucked in anything. They've earned it. They start off the year with a ridiculous schedule and go fight like crazy. And like I said, I felt like we did not near enough good things the first 4 weeks, but I felt like our kids went out and played and showed up and competed, didn't care who they were playing, and were trying to play their best football. And again, like we always say, when you play really good opponents, anything that you're not good at gets exposed in a hurry, and there was things that got exposed along the way, but that also allows you then to work on it, and it doesn't fall on deaf ears, because kids know if they got beat on something, whether it be a block or a tackle or a coverage or a route, like, they know they got beat on. So now it's like, okay, we got to focus. And, then to bounce back from where we were 5 weeks ago, sitting day after game 5 weeks ago, it wasn't awesome. We talked about it all week. And to be down 14-3 to Buffalo, and as it turns out, Buffalo's a pretty good football team, as we're finding out, and to come back and score basically, 34 the next 44 against Buffalo and win that game. Then, again, go on the road at Western, I felt like our kids came out smoking, and Western made the big plays and turnovers in that game. We didn't, but some of it we're frustrated still this day that we self-inflicted wounds. And obviously down 10-0 in Northern and got that one out, and then you got to go on the road against back-to-back weeks against the teams you're tied. 2 weeks ago was 2-1 Kent, 2-1 Miami, 2-1 OU, and we got to play them both on the road. And you got to go to Kent and win a tough road game. And obviously, if anybody watched Kent play Toledo, Kent's a pretty good football team. And then you got to go back-to-back, and then you got to go on the road, and then it's Wednesday night, and you got to travel Tuesday and play 8 o'clock. And, they've got the senior quarterback, and you've got a freshman quarterback, and they're at home, and they got 20,000 crowds, and they're predicted to win it. And, our kids just keep coming and coming. Did we outplay OU? I don't think we outplayed them. I think we outplayed them in the turnover battle was huge, and I think we outplayed them in the big play battle. At least we're even in the big play battle. So it was a game I think both teams played great. It was a game that probably neither team deserved to lose, but welcome to sports. Somebody always loses. And our kids on the road, tied with 8 minutes to go, found a way to gut out a win. And it took, like we said, every single week, it took every it took defense getting a stop. It took offense putting a drive together. It took special teams making a play, and so it was kind of typical of, just like I told my wife after the Buffalo game, I can't take any more of this. I go, I got a feeling if things go really well, this is as good as it gets. This is the ceiling of gutting out a really tough, hard-fought victory. And then just as the league was shaping up, you knew it's still shaping up. Everybody's pretty good. No one is perfect. Everyone's got some really high-end players on both sides of the ball that you look out there and okay, they're gonna make their plays. They're really, and everyone has some guys that are just your solid MAC players that are fighting and scratching. Everybody's pretty well coached. So as the league shakes down, we keep talking about now there's one team with one loss and a bunch of teams with 2 losses. It's going to be that way for the last 3 weeks, and so it's kind of been a battle, and we gotta stay the course, and we gotta everybody all of a sudden we went from crappy 4 weeks ago to now we're invincible, and I laugh at both because I really didn't think we were crappy after Ohio State, and I'm pretty positive we're not invincible right now. So it's going to be key for us. I keep telling kids, keep getting better. We keep getting better. We keep cleaning up areas. Kids keep improving. We got young guys that are definitely improving, and we got some inexperienced players that as they play, they're becoming less inexperienced, and they're getting tons of reps, and they're getting tons of value out of those reps. So we got to keep getting better like everybody else in the league, and we got to find a way to go play BG a week. It's going to be great to be home. It's November 13th. It's our 4th home game. I'm sure that's probably happened in the history of college football, but I can't imagine it's happened very often. That you're sitting at November 13th and you're going to play your 4th home game of the year. So we're excited to be back home and not travel. We went on the road a lot, and obviously BG's beat Toledo, and they beat Akron. They got 2 wins in the league, and they got 3 losses, and they kind of look like everybody else we play, So they'll cause us our own issues, but we got to come play and play our game. If we play our game, we're going to have a shot to win a game, and that's all we're looking for.
Questions? Coach, you said Wednesday after the game that, that win meant a lot, because there's been some messages that have been left for you about your program after the tough starts of the season. Just how meaningful is that win on Wednesday for you personally as a coach, for you as your team, especially after all the heat you've got after, the 76 loss?
It's both are important to me. We've talked almost weekly, for the team, it just keeps building your belief and building your confidence. And again, you're still talking about kids and and it's not like we didn't go in the OU game believing we could win or believing we were a good team. But again, you may win that game on the road. They played it. They know there was nothing easy the whole night. So being able to do it on the road and being able to do it, on a Wednesday night, there's the MAC record on midweek games. The home team wins a lot of them. And because it's a tough travel, it's tough to go and then you sit in a hotel all day and you're bored out of your mind and there's no way to take. It's not. it's not an easy deal to play on the road ever, but to play road midweek, because if you play on the road, it's noon, you kind of travel, you go, you wake up, you play. It's road game, obviously, but when you got to go and you got to sit there all day, so just keep kids believing. And then again, when you play OU, and we played a lot of good teams, obviously, this year, even in that game, there's tons of corrects that just like you didn't do it right and they exposed you. You know what I mean? Like bad tackling for them and you didn't tackle them. You know, and bad first step here and you got blocked, or bad first step here and you didn't get your block. So just them going through that grind and then playing in those moments. You know, there was a short time ago that there was a lot being made that we didn't know how to win close games. And like it's funny to me, like of all the things that we've ever been accused of, like that's one I know, like you can't win close games. I'm like I've won a lot of close games in my life in a lot bigger venues than a midseason MAC game. You know, like so I was like people would say to me, I'm like, oh, you guys don't lose. Well, you guys don't know how to win close games. I'm like, that's bizarre. I've coached a long time. I've never had an issue with trying to, but for the team to get in these moments and then have success and understand what it takes to have success, because part of being, part of it, we're better. Like, let's be honest. You have better players. You have a better chance to win every game, let alone the close ones. But part of it, too, is going through and gaining the experience, just like everything else, gaining the experience and understanding how to play the last 9 minutes. We didn't do anything spectacular last 9 minutes. Probably Sloman's kick spectacular. I'll give you know what I mean? That's about as good as it gets for a kicker. It wasn't a 60-yarder, but it was a 53-yarder into what there wasn't much wind, but what little wind was in his face, But our offense kind of grinded out a pretty solid 40-yard drive. It wasn't nothing major, and our defense came up with a 4-play stop, and we just kind of did what we had to do. And kids learned it, earlier in our time here, it's like we weren't used to winning. We had no confidence. We had no belief. We'd get close games. It'd be Eastern Illinois late in the game, and they'd be coming at us, and we would spaz out, literally, we had no chance because we had so little belief we could do it that when it ever got close to doing it, we didn't know how to handle that situation. So the more you do it, the more the sidelines, again, we've talked about all year in these close games in the league, the sidelines been great. And 9 minutes ago, defense was ticked. We just gave up a score, but they weren't down. They were just like, we got to play better. That's not acceptable. Our offense gave us a lead, and we just gave it back to them, But there's no, as we're taking and there's no giddiness, there's no overexcitement, because it can go both ways, And then, just for me, it's an awesome win. We said last week, it doesn't get any better than Wednesday night. You're playing your rival. It's both teams are 3-1. Somebody's going to have a leg up in the league when you win that game, and it's 150th anniversary. It's pretty fun. You know what I mean? If you like coaching or playing, that's pretty fun. So, but for me, it didn't I don't know. For other people, it might validate. For me, this is where we've been coming for a long time, and we're going to, I'm more based on consistency and doing things the right way and having a program that can sustain, and we've been building that for a year. This didn't we win one game, now all of a sudden everything's right no, it's just when we're still building it. We're not a finished product. We're not even a finished product this year. But I have felt for a long time we're pretty consistent in this league. We can go play with anybody in this league. If anybody doesn't see that, they're not paying attention. All right, and I say it all the time because I'm trying to get the world to see it. We're now 27 in the MAC. We now have the best record in the MAC the last 27 games. All right, well that's not just last Wednesday night we beat OU and now we've arrived. That's a byproduct of being 19-7 in the league and beating other good teams. And you look at our end of the year run last year. And I know we lost the Buffalo game, but that was Buffalo's best team in the league during the regular season last year, and we would have beat them on a Wednesday night. But we went toe to toe with the team that went 7-1. Then you beat OU and you beat Northern, and this year you've beat Northern again, and you've beat OU again, and you've beat Kent again, and Western's got you a couple times, which is irritating, but they're pretty good too, So to me, this has been building for 3 years. Somebody asked me at Starbucks the other day, I bet you're sleeping a bowl of butter that you're winning some games. That's what literally said to me. I'm like, I've been sleeping pretty good for a couple years, dude. You might not have been sleeping good because you don't pay attention, but for me, if you got the best record in the league, and again, I don't think we're where we need to be, but I think I remember when we couldn't defend ourselves, and that wasn't that long ago, and we've been able to defend ourselves for a long time now and play with the best teams in the league and go to toe-to-toe and win on the road and win at home and go to Northern where they don't ever lose on the road last year, and they end up winning our league 2 weeks later, and we go and we find a way to, and kids' belief and our belief, and it keeps getting better. And it just because you did great last week doesn't mean you're going to do great Just like we talked how hard it is to come back from OU or Ohio State 76-5 and what you got to fight. Like, this is a different, like, that's a huge win. Like, we can act like it wasn't a huge win, but it was. And you know how the kids feel, and you know how the fans feel, and you know how the coaches feel. We all feel the same way. We're all ecstatic. We're all crazy over the top of, okay, now you got to, that puppy's over, and you're going to play a very capable team next Wednesday that is going to be licking their chops, that you're probably going to be feeling too good about your last win. And it happens all the time. Happens all the time. Wisconsin beats Michigan, right? And beats them good, and that's a great win. It's a great win for anyone, but it's a great win. Then they go to Illinois, and what happened? Well, what happened was they took their foot off the gas, just a little bit, and Illinois is pretty damn good. Well, I can't believe. Yeah, you can't believe. How many times in sports do we say we can't believe? Stop saying it's stupid. You can't believe in sports. You can't believe the Nationals won the World Series, right? Because the favorite always wins, right? The NCAA tournament, the favorite always wins. No, it's not how it works. Every week and that's why you can never take your foot off the gas. Like our celebration in the locker room was cut pretty short. Our celebration with the coaching staff was cut pretty short. Like, okay, guys, because it's not the time to celebrate because you know everybody's excited. It's like, okay, let's move on. Like, I was more excited when we beat Kent State than because we got to move on. We got to start fighting the pitfalls of success right now. And you got 18, and now they're going to actually go on campus and go to class, and people are actually saying good things. I've heard more positive things in the last 24 hours than I've heard in the first 6 years I've been at Miami. That's a fact. That's an absolute fact. I've had more people reach out to me in the last 24 hours than I have in 6 years at Miami. All of a sudden, there's people that are excited. Okay, well, that's scary too. That's like losing 76-5 because you can take it 2 down or you can take it 2 up. We got to do what we've been doing. We're a pretty good football team, but we're not that good. So we got to find a way to grind out a game against BG and try to get to 5-1 in the league.
How worried are you at all about all the positive messages or all the positive, narratives that your players are hearing, and then them kind of being able to do the mental math of, okay, if we win 2 games here, we end up here and that sort of thing?
Yeah, and again, just like I said last week, we knew last week what we knew 2 weeks ago. It's not like you don't have to talk about what's at stake. We know what's at stake. We know we've put ourselves in a really good position. We don't need to talk about it or not talk. We're not going to not talk about it and pretend it's not there. We're not going to talk about it because it doesn't mean anything. Because you're up a game with 3 to play doesn't mean anything. What means something is if you go to BG, you'll still be up a game with 2 to play. That's all you can do. You got 7 days to get ready to play BG and have an opportunity to get to 5-1 in the league. That's it. That's all you can do. Now, everyone else, as players and coaches that get ahead of yourself, that's when things don't go. That's when you don't give yourself the best chance to win. So we're excited where we're at. Like this, you work your tail off to get to this point to have an advantage, and we have an advantage. We still got 2 MAC East opponents, and we said to win the MAC East, you got to run the table in the MAC East. We still got 2 MAC East opponents left. And if you run the table in the MAC East, you're not guaranteed you're going to win the East, but you put yourself in great position every year. And if you don't beat all the opponents, like the Kent State win only meant something if you beat OU. If you lose to OU, where are we, you know? So now that you beat OU, the Kent State means something, all right? The OU win only means something if you beat BG. If you beat BG, that OU win means a lot. So for us, I'm always concerned about always, and I've been down that road. I was at a place for a long time that it was easy to be fat and happy. It was easy to take your foot off the gas. And did it happen? Yeah, it did, but we fought it like I'm good. I'm not the generally most positive human being when it comes to practice and meetings anyway. So I'm good with you think you're sweet. Okay, go stand over there. We're going to play somebody that doesn't think they're sweet. So we're going to do everything we can to fight any thoughts in our head that we've accomplished anything. We've done a great job up to this point in the year. We put ourselves in good position. There's 3 weeks out of 8 left in the conference season. We got a long way to go.
Obviously, every league game is important, but beating OU for this program, for this fan base, for just the history of the program is special. How far does a win against your rival specifically go in defining your season?
Yeah, no, it's and again, your rival when they're good. You know what I mean? Because again, beating your rival is always good. When you have rivalries and you win the rivalry game, that's going to stick in their craw for 364 days, and you're going to feel good for 364 days. That's the beauty of the rivalry game. But when you beat them and they're also good, then it's even because you get the feeling that you beat your rival, but you also beat a great team. And then when it's on the road and it's on national TV, so again, it was as, like I said, it was about as good as it gets for Miami football wins. Like you get to play OU on the 150th anniversary on a Wednesday night on ESPN, and you're both tied for first. Like, what can somebody create a better scenario? Because there's never going to be another 150th anniversary of college football. You know, Very rarely, we haven't played. We play OU every year, but we haven't played them when we're both tied for first. We're both sitting at 3-1. And then you get to do it on the road in front of 20-some thousand of their fans. So I've always loved the road. That's just because I don't know, just because I've got issues probably. Like I like beating them with their fans there. Like I like sending them home at 12:30 at night, and they got to go home and So there's a lot of people. So it's fun to win games anywhere, but it's fun to win games on the road. So I always think it makes it hard. Every time they made a play, that place was rocking. When they scored with 9 minutes left, that place was rocking. You're thinking about you feel like it's slipping away from us, and then you got to try to get your wits about you and say, well, we still get to play, it's only slipping away if we think we have. So it was awesome. It was awesome. I even couldn't be prouder than the kids, particularly, the way they hung in there just like they always do.
Have you put in any calls to ESPN to try to get Holly Rowe to the rest of your games? Your good luck charm?
Yeah, no doubt. So she's been good. So won a couple close ones. So we would love to have her. I think, I don't know, maybe because it's midweek, there's a shot at it. I would think if we're playing. She's probably doing the Spurs-Lakers game tonight. So she's like, I don't know if you remember me. I go, it doesn't really make a difference if I remember you, Holly, because you're famous. Even if I didn't remember what happened in 2000 and whatever that was, 2002, which was a long time ago, I said, I've seen you on TV maybe a billion times since then. You haven't seen me much since then, but we started here and you got to here and I'm here. So, I said, but I know who the hell you are. Don't worry about that. She's like, oh, I'm like, so, but it was, we'll take any, everybody says good luck. And I said, a little good luck never hurt nobody, right? So.
How do you come out injury-wise?
Pretty good. Obviously, Luke left early. Sad, he gets a great block on a touchdown run, and Bester's running through the tackle, and the safety kind of whipped off, one of those running, and there's a tough tackle, and Bester runs through it, and he kind of whips off Bester and rolls up on Luke. So Luke's not doing too good, but other than that, we came out of it pretty good.
What about BG? What do you tell us about them?
Yeah, so one really good coaching staff. They got just how it worked out, who they got, who they hired is, Coach Leffler's crazy experience has been from NFL to Lions to all these wonderful places. Started off at Michigan and has been really at good places ever since. A little different. And then obviously they got, their defensive coordinator's been NFL defensive coordinator at multiple places, and defensive coordinator at Georgia, and defensive coordinator at Notre Dame, and so it's a pretty fire. So they do a lot of high end. They do different stuff. They definitely have some NFL flavor to what they do on both sides of the ball. So structurally, they throw a ton at you on offense and defense. They go very fast on offense. They do it all out of the same personnel, so they could be in 5 open, and they could be look like 22 personnel, all with the same personnel. So they're very, very sophisticated with what they do. And then you add the tempo on offense. And then they have some very fast, like everybody in this league, but they have some very fast slot receivers / tailbacks. But then they also have some big physical backs, so they can hit you north and south with some big physical backs, and they can hit you east and west. So they have skill guys that can hurt you and have hurt guys in the league. And then defensively, they throw a lot at you. It's you got to kind of sort some stuff out as you go, because just Van Gorder knows a ton of defense, a ton of defense. He's one of the top defensive coordinators in the country. It just happened the timing when they got the job, and they got a guy that's been a lot of really good places. Not many DCs in the Mid-American Conference with his pedigree, I would say that. So he's been crazy successful, and they do a lot of stuff. And they took a good Toledo offense and made them look really ordinary, and a lot of it had to do with structure and where they're coming from and the coverages and mixing up the fronts and mixing up all the stuff. So they've done some good things on both sides of the ball. Obviously, first-year program transition, there's always, I know what that's like, there's going to be some inconsistencies, and they've had some inconsistencies, but when they've played well on offense, they played really well on offense. When they played well on defense, they played really well. And obviously, anytime you beat Toledo, Toledo's tied or fighting to tie for the other side, and we know how good they are, and Toledo's been good since. So it was Toledo's fallen off the map, and they had a little bit, they transitioned when they had the quarterback, but they've been playing pretty good. So they're more than capable, and I know they'll be excited to take a shot. They'll be thinking we're right for the picking for sure. I'd be thinking, okay, they just come off a couple huge road wins, and they probably feel pretty good, and we're gonna go in there and punch them in the mouth. So we got to be ready.
Doug, obviously a really big game for you this week against Ohio. Talk a little bit about what your preparation looked like, especially going up against a quarterback like Rourke, who is quite elusive.
As you know, a lot of teams in our league, they have running quarterbacks, agile quarterbacks, but obviously he's a little bit different from everyone else. He's a little bit better, more athletic. We treated it like every other week. We prepared the same way. We knew it was going to be a running quarterback. We knew rush lanes was going to be important. We knew that keeping him in the pocket and then making sure if he did get out of the pocket, retracing and trying to get him down was going to be important.
You know, you said that you treat this game like any other week. Obviously, OU is a really big game for this program. Just how important is it for you to beat OU, not just this year, but beat them 2 years in a row?
It's definitely huge. I mean, it puts us on the map. It's kind of a statement like we're here. Like, don't think about us as your little brother anymore, and we want to keep that winning streak alive. And I think one of the biggest things was after the game in the locker room. Obviously, everyone's excited, but just our excitement wasn't over the top. We kind of had like a business approach, and you could see by the way everyone celebrated. It was like we knew what we needed to do, and we got it done, and we're ready for the next one.
I asked Coach Martin after the game if he thought it was one of your best games that you've played in college. He couldn't give me an answer. He said he was watching the secondary. What were your thoughts on that? Do you feel like it was one of your best games you've ever had?
I would agree. I definitely felt like I was in a zone, and definitely just a crowd kind of hyped me up, kind of get me going too. So I definitely feel like it was one of my better games. Obviously, I still want to improve.
Seems like there was a lot of excitement, you know, when you were doing the interview with ESPN2 after the game, all your buddies in the background. Talk a little bit about, you know, just the brotherhood that's on this team and, you know, kind of how that came through this week.
Right. It was definitely a lot of fun hearing everyone behind me screaming, you know, just having a good time. And I would do that to any of them too. It's definitely we're a tight group, you know, anyone would do anything for anyone. I know someone here too wants to ask a question and joke around with us. I know just a bunch of guys who really love each other at the end of the day and want to do stuff for each other.
Jack here with the Miami Player. Man, great game first off. You're really a force out there. You play with such spirit, such power. What animal would you say represents the type of play that you
What
have?
an animal. That's a good one.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm gonna go Tiger. I'm gonna go with Tiger.
You would care to elaborate on that one?
I don't know. You know, actually no. I'm gonna go Lion. You know. No. I'm gonna say Tiger. I don't know how to explain it. That's just what I am.
Jack, obviously played the game for you, being Sports Center top 10 with that bobbling catch in the back of the end zone. Talk us through, you know, from your perspective, how that play went down.
Yeah, I mean, like, people keep saying it was a crazy catch, all this different stuff. I had my eyes closed the whole time, and I ended up out of bounds with the ball in my hand, so it was kind of crazy. But seriously, I mean, like, you look at the play, and, like, the defender he did everything right. You know what I mean? It was a great throw by Gabbert. The defender made a play on it. He put his hand up, tipped the ball, did everything that he could do. And, I mean, sometimes the action gods are in your favor. And that was one of those plays where, I just ended up on top on that one. So, but, I mean, that's like an awesome picture of, like, the culmination of the game. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't perfect. Nothing was perfect about that game. It was very back and forth, and the defense did a bunch of good things. Offense did a bunch of good things, but I mean, sometimes one team has to end up on top, and in that particular play, I ended up coming out on top, and it was just kind of how the game went too. So.
Was it all the luck of the action gods, or are you going to give yourself at least a little bit of credit on that?
I mean, for that play right there, I don't know if there's much. That one just kind of happens real fast and just a couple bobbles and then ended up in my hands. But, I mean, I do a lot of stuff after practice, tip drills and stuff like that. So, I mean, maybe a little skill, but, I mean, there's a lot of luck in that one. So the action gods came through for sure.
Wednesday, there was a pretty big crowd in favor of OU. You know, lots of chants going on, not so favorable to Miami. Talk about what it's like to go into a hostile environment like that, and kind of what it means to this program to beat OU.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just really representative of our whole season. You know, I don't think we've went into a game this year where we have been favored. So I think it's just like what we're used to. You know, we go into hostile environments. We are never really favored wherever we go. So we're pretty used to it. So, I mean, going into an environment like that, especially after we beat them last year, I mean, it's really cool. You know, it's the position that every player on this team has wanted to be in since they've gotten here. And being at a place like that, an environment like that, playing against like a team like that who's really, really good, fighting for first place in the MAC. So, I mean, it's a position and an opportunity that everybody wants, and especially people on this team.
Do you think that experience of playing at Iowa, at Cincinnati, at Ohio State is finally kind of coming back and really paying off for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just like at some point, I mean, you get, and not saying that we got beat down in those games. I mean, there's some games that we did, but I mean like it's at some point like that stuff starts going up. You get beat, but the good thing about our offense and defense and the players that we have is like we learn. We didn't come in with a salty attitude and come in and say like, why are we doing this? Why are they putting us up against Ohio State? Why are we playing Iowa? Every single game we saw as an opportunity to grow, to get better, and I think it's really starting to show. We have players that are stepping up. We have freshman alignment that are playing. We have a freshman quarterback that's balling out. We have James May. We have Jalen Walker. We have so many guys that are stepping up and finally like showing, I guess, everybody else like what we knew the whole time that they could do. And I mean that comes from learning. That comes from failure. That comes from seeing failure as an opportunity. And a bunch of those guys are doing that right now. So it's really cool.
All that being said, you have to be looking forward to playing 2 straight games at home.
Yeah, I mean, I think what is it? 6 of the last 9 games have been away games. So it's been crazy. I mean, like I said, I mean, this whole season the cards have been really stacked against us. Whether we go into a place and they don't think that they have the odds up against us, or just people not believing that we can do it. Us losing Kenny Young, James, Gus, all those people coming into this year, people saying that we're not going to be the team that we used to be. I mean, like the cards have been stacked up against us the whole year. So I mean, it's just something that we're used to.
All right, Doug Costin here, Miami athlete. Question for you. I heard you have a new nickname, Maction Jackson. So I just want to know, what does Maction mean to you?
Man, Maction's my whole life right now. It's my whole life. So, I mean, I guess it just flows off the tongue well. So, hey, it's cool. And I guess it's a compliment.
Everybody good? Oh, one more.
For you personally, not just getting back out on the field, but contributing in a big way like you did against Ohio, how'd that feel?
Yeah. I mean, this season has been tough, which is an understatement. I mean, the first game at Iowa, tearing my PCL, and then the first game that I actually got to come back, like 4 or 5 plays in, getting rolled up on and hurting my ankle. This season has definitely been a physical and mental challenge. But, I think in the long run, and right now that I'm realizing that it has given me opportunities to learn leadership roles from different parts of the field, from the sideline. It's given me a new perspective on the game. It's allowed me to spend more time in the film room and develop a part of my game that I really needed to develop. But yeah, I mean, in total, I mean, it's been awesome. It's what you dream of, getting able to play at a level like this, in games like that, in situations like that. So I'm just really happy that I was able to contribute in any type of way.
So the big storyline with beating OU is you're now in first place in the MAC East. And you kind of control your own destiny at this point. How do you guys stay away from doing the mental math of figuring out, okay, if we win these 2, we're here. If we win all out, we're here.
Yeah, I mean, I think we just don't do the mental math, None of us are good at math, so we're not going to try. We just take one game at a time. We got to beat Bowling Green, and our MAC title is on the line every single game, is what we say. So it's a 1-game season. We're looking at Bowling Green as the biggest game of the year right now. And then we'll look at Akron as the biggest game of the year, and then we'll look at Ball State as the biggest game of the year. We're not looking at any of these games as, okay, if we win these 2, or we can lose this one and then win the next 2. I think once you start looking at it like that, you become complacent, and then you lose more games than you think that you're going to. So the next game is the biggest game of the season for us, and that's how we're going to go in it.